He throws $300 million parties, but also makes his rivals disappear overnight. He hosts Netflix, concerts and gold-plated supercars, but behind the scenes he unleashes chilling repression. Bold reformer or the Middle East's most dangerous controller. Here are 8 shocking facts about Crown Prince MBS, and the final one will leave you speechless. From religious police to $300 million parties, inside the wild rise of Crown Prince MBS. For decades, the kingdom was synonymous with religious repression. No music, no movie theaters, and definitely no public mixing of the sexes. The Mutaween, Saudi's infamous religious police, ruled the streets, enforcing a draconian version of Islam. Life was controlled by hardline clerics, women were invisible, and even joy itself seemed outlawed. Enter Mohammed bin Salman, or MBS, a 30-something royal armed with a vision, a Netflix subscription, and a reported $300 million chateau. His mission? To drag Saudi Arabia kicking and screaming into the 21st century. Women were granted the right to drive. Cinemas reopened. Entertainment exploded. The pace, breathtaking. But this wasn't just a reform. It was a takeover. When his father, King Salman, took the throne in 2015, MBS wasn't even next in line. He muscled his way to power, reportedly forcing his cousin aside in a cloak and dagger palace maneuver that would make succession look tame. Then came Davos in the desert. MBS invited the global elite to a glitzy economic summit and used it as a trap. Billionaires and princes were suddenly detained in a 5-star hotel, turned prison. Interrogations followed. Fortunes changed hands. It was a purge, a power move, and a message: MBS is the boss now. Oh, behind the glittering reforms lies a darker reality. Human rights groups estimate thousands imprisoned. In one chilling wave, 81 people were executed in a single day. Dissidents vanish. Fear lingers. And yet, the country pulses with a strange new freedom. For older Saudis, it's a cultural whiplash. Imagine growing up under a strict code where even laughter was suspect and waking up one day to a rave. And for the West, MBS is either a visionary reformer or an authoritarian in a Gucci cloak. One thing's for sure, this story isn't over. And the kingdom once ruled by fatwas is now ruled by a man who believes he can buy time, silence and change, all with one click of $1 billion check. What do you think makes MBS successful? Comment now. But behind the scenes, there are stories of people who disappeared in silence. Those who dare to stand up know the price they pay. They were caught silently, the powerful rise of the Saudi crown prince. Khalid al-Jabri is a doctor living in the United States, but he has never forgotten what happened to his family in Saudi Arabia. The eldest of 8 children, Khalid used to be proud of his 2 younger siblings, Omar and Sarah. They were smart, funny, and always dreamed big. But then, everything changed. In 2017, the Saudi government suddenly banned Omar and Sarah from leaving the country. No one explained why. 3 years later, a group of more than 50 plainclothesmen in 20 unmarked cars came to their home. They took Omar and Sarah away, and they were never seen again. Khalid believes this was to put pressure on his father, Dr. Saad al-Jabri, a senior advisor in the previous administration who had worked with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Nayef, who was replaced by Mohammed bin Salman, MBS. MBS has shaken up the country. He allowed women to drive, opened cinemas, and held large concerts, something that was once strictly forbidden in Saudi Arabia. To the world, he is a young, promising figure modernizing a conservative country. But to people like Khalid, he is in control. Everything that happens has permission from the highest level, Khalid says. And for those who dare to criticize, the price can be high. One shocking example is the disappearance of journalist Jamal Khashoggi at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. He was a former royal who became a dissenting voice. After his disappearance, international reports suggested he was severely punished inside. MBS denies direct direction but says he takes overall responsibility. This initially drew a strong reaction from the US. President Biden has vowed to make Saudi Arabia pay. But then global conflict and the energy crisis changed everything. The US and the West still needed oil from the Gulf. MBS took advantage of that. He organized a big conference, attracting top Middle Eastern leaders to Riyadh. He built Neom, a technology city in the desert, expected to cost more than $500 billion. Yet unemployment remains high. The economy has not turned around as expected. And many citizens are starting to ask, if the promises don't come true, what will happen next? Perhaps the most dangerous thing for Saudi Arabia right now is the overconfidence of the man running it. Not only has MBS changed the country, he has secretly built a real estate empire worth hundreds of millions of dollars, from Paris to Virginia. The secret real estate kingdom of the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia in France and the US. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is not only the most powerful man in Saudi Arabia, he is also the owner of a mysterious real estate empire that spans the globe. In 2015, the financial and media world was shocked when Chateau Louisier, a magnificent castle near Paris, sold for more than $300 million, a record as the most expensive private home ever sold. For months, the identity of the buyer was kept secret, until the name Mohammed bin Salman emerged, and everything exploded. But this is no 17th century castle. In fact, it was built between 2008 and 2011, blending classic French beauty with state-of-the-art technology. Outside, a gilded fountain greets guests like something out of a fairy tale. Inside, a private cinema, an underwater viewing room located right under the moat. All of it makes for an incredible living space that goes beyond the usual luxury. However, not everyone was impressed with the purchase. Critics were quick to point out, how could a leader who was calling for savings and fighting corruption at home be living such lavishly in Europe? Were the reforms he announced just a facade for an unrestrained high life? The debate was heated, and the contrast between the image of a modern prince and a spendthrift began to draw attention from around the world. But Mohammed bin Salman's real estate empire doesn't stop in France. In the United States, his younger brother, Prince Khalid bin Salman, also made waves in American real estate in 2017 when he spent $12 million to buy the Chateau de Lumiere in Great Falls, Virginia. The 24,000-square-foot mansion with 8 bedrooms, 13 bathrooms, and luxurious European interiors, a gem in the heart of America. But the mystery is, the house sat largely unused for years and was finally put back up for sale in 2023. Why was it vacant? Was it just an investment? Or was it part of a larger strategy, acquiring real estate in the most prestigious locations on the planet like Paris and Washington, D.C.? Comment MBS if you like him. If you think a $300 million villa is luxurious, wait until you see what MBS takes to the sea. Saudi Crown Prince and his two $750 million yachts that make Bill Gates jealous. For Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, everything has to be at an unbelievable level. In 2014, he surprised the world by spending $200 million to buy Pegasus VE, a superyacht so luxurious that it surpasses even a 5-star hotel. It's not just a yacht, but a palace on the sea, with a magnificent interior and services that exceed all usual standards. But just a year later, MBS stunned the world again. In 2015, he spent another $550 million to buy Serene, a superyacht that's more than 130 meters long and larger than a football field. This is not just a yacht. This is a floating fortress. Serene has 2 helipads, a private submarine, 3 swimming pools, an indoor saltwater lake, and even an extremely luxurious nightclub. There's also an artificial snow room, a climbing wall, a private cinema, and a super luxury spa, all designed to serve just one person, Mohammed bin Salman. The most interesting detail? Bill Gates, the world's #1 billionaire at the time, once rented Serene for a week for $5 million for a family vacation. But MBS didn't rent it, he bought it outright. For him, the money was like buying a toy. And that's not all. After buying both, MBS sent both Pegasus V and Serene to the Netherlands for a secret upgrade. No one knows exactly what's inside, but rumors say the interior is gold-plated, equipped with extremely rare materials, and even has a state-of-the-art defense system like that of the military. For MBS, hundreds of millions of dollars are just the price to pay to demonstrate ultimate power. These two superyachts are more than just assets, they're symbols. A symbol of a man who knows no bounds, who plays the game of power at a level most of us can't even imagine. And while the rest of the world is still talking, he's quietly preparing for the next step. Because for Mohammed bin Salman, luxury never stops. For MBS, owning luxury cars is not enough. Each one is covered in gold to become a living symbol of power. Saudi Crown Prince, $30 million gold-covered fleet. In his wildest dreams, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman wants more than just cars. He wants a fleet that is a living symbol of his power and wealth beyond measure. His collection looks like it came straight out of a Hollywood movie, but it's all real. There's the $3 million Bugatti Chiron, a road monster that combines speed and class in one fell swoop. Then there's the Lamborghini Aventador, whose aggressive design and roaring sound make a statement. There's the McLaren P1, a rare high-performance hybrid, and of course the Rolls-Royce Phantom, the definition of silence and power on four wheels. Each car is worth millions of dollars, but for the Crown Prince, that's not enough. He spends an additional $66,000 on each one just to have it covered in gold chrome, creating a metallic effect that's impossible to ignore. When this motorcade rolls out, there's no need for sirens. No need for bodyguards. The light reflecting off the gold plating is enough to tell the world the most powerful person has arrived. This isn't just a car, it's a statement. No one needs to ask who's getting out of the car, because when you have a fleet of gold supercars, all eyes are on you before you can say a word. This collection has not only wowed car enthusiasts, but also made the super rich nod in approval. Because while many still dream of a Ferrari, Mohammed bin Salman has taken $1 million showroom and turned it into his personal garage and turned it into gold. This is where the line between fantasy and reality begins to blur. A world where speed, luxury, and power not only go hand in hand, but are also wrapped in dazzling gold. In the air, he doesn't just fly, he rules. And the $450 million of 380 is living proof. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the $450 million private jet. When you think of private jets, you probably think of small, luxurious, and comfortable planes. But for Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, luxury is just the starting point. And the most obvious symbol of that is the $450 million Airbus A380 in his personal fleet. This isn't an airplane, it's a palace in the air, making 5-star hotels on the ground look strangely ordinary. But what's even more shocking is, the A380 isn't everything. For MBS, the limit is for other people. That's why he added a Boeing 747, the type of plane used by international airlines to transport hundreds of passengers, to his collection and turned it into his personal property. Think that's too much? For the Crown Prince, it was just the next step in his journey to prove that there are no limits to luxury. This Boeing 747 is no ordinary commercial aircraft. It has been customized down to the last detail, reflecting the exacting standards of a leader accustomed to creating his own rules of the game. Every piece of interior, every piece of technology integrated into it says one thing: this is flying power. When Trump arrives in Riyadh, it's not just a visit. It's a deal that changes the balance of global power. $1 trillion day Donald Trump received like a king in Saudi Arabia? Under the scorching sun of Riyadh, where desert meets skyscrapers of power, Air Force One touched down at King Khaled International Airport on May 13, 2025. But this was no ordinary visit. Donald Trump, the President of the United States, was greeted by a formation of 4 Royal Saudi Air Force F-15 fighter jets flying like majestic desert guards. It was more than just diplomatic protocol, it was a message: Saudi Arabia is an oil powerhouse and knows how to show it. As Trump walked down the purple carpet, he was greeted by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman with steaming Arabic coffee pouring from a golden kettle, royal music, and guards with ceremonial gun belts. His motorcade of black Bentleys rolled down the wide avenues, taking him to the Al Yamama Palace, an architectural masterpiece with marble domes and giant crystal chandeliers. At Al Yamama, under sparkling crystal, Trump and MBS sat across from each other like 2 modern emperors, with the eyes of the world watching. And then, in a scene hushed by the weight of the moment, they signed the $600 billion contract, a deal that shook the world. Of that, $142 billion was reserved for the largest defense contract in U.S. history, including cutting-edge missiles, F-35 fighters, and warships from Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, and Boeing. Not only did the deal strengthen the U.S.-Saudi military alliance, it also created tens of thousands of jobs in the U.S., from assembly lines in Texas to shipyards in Virginia. On top of that, Saudi Aramco pledged to invest $50 billion in U.S. energy projects with ExxonMobil and Chevron. The Public Investment Fund stepped up its game, pouring another $100 billion into infrastructure and cutting-edge technology. Trump, with his usual winning smile, called MBS a great guy and claimed the total value could reach $1 trillion, creating up to 2 million jobs for Americans. Not stopping there, the White House also announced a $20 billion investment from Saudi DataVault in AI data centers and energy infrastructure in the U.S., while Google, Oracle, Salesforce, AMD, and Uber joined DataVault in pouring another $80 billion into next-generation technology projects. Additionally, Shaymek 4 Solutions invested $5.8 billion in healthcare innovation, including a giant infusion manufacturing plant in Michigan. From private jets to crystal, from fighter jets to hundreds of billions of dollars in contracts, this visit is about more than diplomacy. It's about making a statement. When power and money come together, the world takes notice. The purple carpet, the traditional sword dance, and the moment Trump raised his hand in salute, all were unmistakable diplomatic messages. Crown Prince drives cavalry escorts. Trump receives royal welcome. Against the deep blue skies of the Middle East, 4 F-15 fighter jets roared in honor guard formation, escorting Air Force One like warriors of the desert. But what stunned the world was that the carpet waiting for Trump was not the traditional red, but lavender, a new symbol of power that Saudi Arabia reserves for honored international leaders. Welcomed by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Trump did not just step off the plane, he stepped into a lavish show of power. The Crown Prince, also known as MBS, did not sit in a limousine like other leaders. He personally drove an electric golf cart, leading Trump past a cavalry of camels and horses holding high American flags, leading him straight to the state banquet at Salwa Palace. Drums and traditional singing echoed across the desert, while dozens of people dressed in white Bedouin costumes and red scarves saluted along the walkway. As night fell, Trump and MBS raised their glasses in the crystal-encrusted lobby of the Ritz-Carlton Riyadh after a tour of Diriyah, the 300-year-old birthplace of the Saudi monarchy. But before that, at the Al Raji Grand Hall, he was awarded the Abdulaziz Al Saud Medal, the kingdom's highest honor for a head of state. And to the sound of Ardha drums and a traditional sword dance that shimmered under the lights, where each swing became a declaration of strength and loyalty. As the farewell took place, all eyes followed the moment Trump returned to the plane's stairs, raising his iconic fist, strong and confident. In response, MBS placed his hand on his left heart, a gesture deeply rooted in Arab culture, a sign of absolute respect. Trump returned the gesture, then waved, stepping onto Air Force One. The world fell silent. Social media exploded. The image went viral, not just as a farewell but as a new chapter in Saudi relations. There was no doubt that Trump was not just being welcomed as a president. In Saudi Arabia, he was being treated as a king. What do you find most impressive about Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, his bold reforms, or his raw consolidation of power? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Like this video, subscribe so you never miss a new story about the world's most fascinating people. Thanks for watching.